Palm Beach, Florida, and observing from here and feeling a lot of anxiety for our fellow Americans with what is predicted to be a very, very big winter storm, including all my old friends in New York and up the East Coast. We'll have to see. I mean, sometimes I can just offer the comfort that sometimes these don't turn out to be as bad as they are predicted, but then again, sometimes they do, and they're worse. So I guess you got to take it really seriously and listen. I don't guess, you have to take it really seriously and see what is being told to do and do it. Don't start, freelancing. They know what they're talking about when they tell you things like you got to move a little and you shouldn't stay there. I was one of them once. So a funding bill, finally, H.R. 7148, the Consolidated Appropriations Act, provides for full year 2026 appropriations. They now have it for Department of Defense, thank God, Department of Labor, Health and Human Services and Education, Transportation, Housing and Urban Development, and the Department of Homeland Security, where they got into a big fight, of course, about ICE. A separate appropriation bill, H.R. 7147, funds the Department of Homeland Security. And the funding for it is $64.4 billion. And $10 billion is for ICE. The Democrats opposed it because they want to do away with ICE because even though ICE has had a superb record, which I'm going to describe to you in a little while, and has flipped around the invasion disaster and crime disaster that we were living with, I think they want to get him killed with the language they use, but they don't want to fund them. Luckily, it passed, and they got their 10 billion. Also, community health centers were funded. Projects such as 6.5 million in local community funding, 11.2 billion IRS budget, which is a big drop down from Biden. They provided $30 million more for Supreme Court security, which I guess, given the fact that at any time Schumer could finger another justice like he did, like he did Kavanaugh and almost got him killed. I guess they figured they had to vote for that when their majority leader almost got a Supreme Court justice killed. The bill passed 341 to 88. That's pretty good, huh? For a government that's now they tried very, very hard to put all sorts of they tried very, very hard to put all sorts of restrictions on ICE, like basically they can't arrest anybody, but that didn't work. They tried to get the Affordable Care Act extended so we can go broke, when in fact it's now questionable. Does it cover more real people or make-believe people? I don't know. Or if you add the make-believe people and the double, triple, and quadruple covered people, is there more fraud or legitimate money in it? There sure is a hell of a lot of fraud in it, way beyond what the cuts are. Some of the amendments to do further cutting were defeated. Probably part of the compromise that got it passed. Now, the funding for defense, education, health, and transportation was also funded, and it is a big increase in defense spending. But the president has said that he is working on a supplemental and is going to go to them and show them where he's getting the money with a $500 billion increase immediate in the defense budget. so that we can make sure that we leave China so far behind that they won't be able to see us. And who doesn't support that? The people that get paid by China, or the ones who have girlfriends from China, like Wang Fang Pang Dang. What was her name? Swalwell's girlfriend, Wang Dang Fang.
Bang bang.
And
Where's
nobody
Fang
ever
Fang?
found out how much Wang Fang Fang got out of that lying bum. Nor do they bother to ask. I mean, they really take care of each other. They really, really do. These guys get away with murder.
Sometimes.
Look at, you see how much money they make? I mean, how? Elon Omar and her husband, have you ever listened to them?
Yeah.
Since she's been in Congress, they've gone from 0 to 30 million. They hardly can put together two sentences that make sense.
How are they? Right. And nobody questions them.
And we know that somewhere between $1 and $9 billion in the middle of her political powerhouse is being stolen. Now, you really got to be stupid. You got to be really stupid if you don't have a thought like,
Where's that?
why did she pass all that legislation that made it impossible to really track the money? Just to help other people be crooks? Or
Well, this isn't.
And she comes from a country where, well, what can I say? Where there is a great deal of crookedness, dishonesty, uncivilized behavior. They're not a developed country, which is a nice way of saying they're not civilized. And she's and she's weird. I mean, this is the one who was married to her brother or something. She's weird as hell. And this other guy looks like her father, but he probably is the brains for picking up the dough. His company was worth nothing, and now it's worth like 20 million. So I don't know if he likes her, doesn't like her, loves her, or doesn't love her, but she's sure the money bags for him.
Right. Well, let's. This is an activist defending the Somalian people's contributions to the Twin Cities and to America.
Okay, well, let's. This should be very short.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Somehow I don't get what she means. That was a very, very inspiring, patriotic. I can see people running to the ramparts fighting for freedom after that speech. So being Somali in America is like, is it bananas and bread? Is she saying bread?
Well, first she says it's not like bananas and rice.
Rice.
But then it becomes like bananas and rice. That's part of my confusion here. Let's watch.
Well, I like them separately. I like bananas and I like rice. I kind of think, for example, I prefer things defining my country like the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal is a little better than bananas and rice. Or how about 7 years, you know, that kind of stuff sort of starts you to think of doing honest things. And it really is true, my dear. I don't know if you know it, but your country is one of the most corrupt in the world. I don't know if you can use the word systemic corruption. Biden sure had no problem saying that about America being racist.
Right.
I'm sure that Somali is much more crooked than America is racist. And, you know, my grandfather came here from Italy. He just felt a great deal of gratitude about being in America. How come you have this witch of a congresswoman who's complaining about America all the time? It seems like she wants us to be communist, and we
Right.
fought very hard not to be. So I mean, well, the simple fact is we got to go on numbers. 85% of the Somalians who are either citizens on their way to citizenships or illegal are getting money from Uncle Sam. That wasn't true of the Jews, and it wasn't true of the Irish, and it wasn't true of the Germans, and it wasn't true of the Hispanics, and it wasn't true of the Italians, and it wasn't true of the Hungarians, and it wasn't true of... And it's not a good idea, because what we really need, we don't need more people. We need more honest, decent, good, and productive people to add to and to take our country to the next level. We don't need a lot of freeloaders, and we sure as hell don't need a lot of thieves. And the way you've conducted yourself in Minneapolis is disgusting. It's disgusting. Taking money out of the mouths of the children in massive numbers. And don't tell me that didn't happen. I mean, it's so much beyond the pig factor, it makes you want to throw up. Look at that whole thing they tried to do with the 5-year-old, that ICE arrested a 5-year-old, and the father gave up the kid so he could run away. Good father. He left the kid and ran away so he could protect his ass, but not his kid. Maybe he should take his medicine. He came here illegally. Sorry. There are a lot of people that come here legally that get screwed because of you. Sorry. I mean, I don't even get this being apologetic if they are, like, we can only throw them out if they're criminals. I mean, in addition to being criminals coming in, I don't know if we get to the point that we get this down to a reasonable number, we get the crime, which has come down dramatically, steadied, that we can start thinking about some of the people who have been unusual and deserve what under English law they used to call equity, which is not the strict application of the law, but a change of that in light of extraneous and mitigating factors. And there are many like that. And I think they're doing the best they can to make sure that people don't get caught up in that. But I was going to do this a little later, and I will. I'm going to show you how ICE operates. It has been an enormously efficient organization under Trump, much more so than under Biden and Obama. And you would be surprised at how few mistakes they make. So, particularly by these animals who are out there complaining. So the funding bill has passed. It's got to go to the Senate. It may get a few. It may get a few hitches in it because the Senate really can't change it very much, because then it has to go back to the House. Remember the words of the Constitution: a funding bill has to originate in the House of Representatives. So the end result has to be the Senate, but it's got to be the bill. They can't take what they got from the House, which is the House bill. They can make little changes in it, but they can't make a big change because then they're initiating, right? So it is, it's not a Republican or Democrat thing. It's a constitutional thing. And this was a lot of Democrats moaning and groaning, and the real traitor Democrats voting against it. But most Democrats voted for it ultimately. So the Russia and Ukraine and the U.S. right now are sitting down in Abu Dhabi which is part of the Emirates. It's actually the capital of the Emirates. And they are discussing how to settle the war. And Zelensky at the when he was interviewed at Davos, he said there's one issue that has to be resolved. Now, I have to suspect it's the giving up of the territory, and I think Zelensky wants. I think Zelensky is willing to do it if Ukraine does not have to recognize Russian sovereignty and they make it a demilitarized zone. I think that's where they are now. Is it going to end up that way? I don't know, but I think that, and I may be wrong, but I think that's the issue that is hanging out right now. Boy, I'll tell you, it's really been tough getting that one settled. So I was going to tell you about how ICE is better under Trump than anyone else. Let's begin with the claim that ICE arrests citizens, which would be a mistake, right? Well, they last year made 595,000 arrests, okay? And 40 of them turned out to be citizens or erroneously arrested, otherwise erroneously arrested. That's 0.0067%, meaning minuscule. But for that person, it was one wrongful detention for every 14,925 arrests. Now let's compare that to Barack Obama. By the way, Biden didn't keep these records. So we go back to the last ones we have under a Democrat. In 2015 and 2016, he had 263 mistaken arrests. So if you just divide them by the 2 years, right, that's 130 a year as opposed to 40. He also had something that Trump did not have, a mistaken removal, 4 of them. Trump had none. All 40 were sent back. There was no mistaken expulsion of anyone. So I don't know if you can do any better than that. He did basically, as compared to Obama and what they're able to put together under Biden, they were about 20 to 25 times more inefficient. So, I mean, you couldn't run it better. You couldn't run it better, and it was an agency that was not being run well. So when they tell you that they're deporting citizens, that is as untrue as everything Smith said yesterday. Do Democrats nowadays ever tell the truth?
Right. It's like
Also, the number of deaths per detainee is way down. So they're not being treated more harshly. Remember the little cages they were in that Trump was shocked about, and they blamed it on Trump? But of course, it was Biden who built, Obama who built the cages. ICE under Trump made 0 erroneous deportations. By contrast, ICE under Obama deported 4 U.S. citizens, 2 in 2015, 2 in 2016. Citizens and the Democratic Party are demonizing it. Car attacks on ICE agents are up 3,200%. That means they've weaponized a car to try to hurt, seriously injure, or kill American law enforcement agents. And the Democratic Party is directly sponsoring it and encouraging it. And the attempt to make a heroine out of a woman who drove a 2.5-ton truck directly into a human being is about as disgusting as what they did with a man who spent his whole life beating up women, frightening children, engaging in numerous crimes, and getting himself so either intoxicated or high on drugs that he killed himself, according to the coroner, not the press. He died of natural causes. Why isn't the cop let out of prison? That's a mistake. And they kept that going for a long time. This one, people stood up for the truth faster and cut it before it took off. But if you looked at Minneapolis today, you would think some terrible thing happened there.
Right.
All that happened there is they've taken out about 3,000 or 4,000 criminals, half of whom were sex violators. We went over the list. I mean, I did it as a sample of the first 10, but in the first 10, which is the first 100, 50% were involved in crimes of sexual perversion, 20% murder. Not involved, convicted. Now, they should have a party for them. They should have a party for them.
Right. And it just reminds you of the video that we've played a few times now, and we'll play it again. That would make a good ad. Here we go. Play this.
Arrest a child sex offender, and you guys are out here honking. So you're reporting. We're here to arrest a child sex offender, and you guys are out here honking.
No, we're pressing. We're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
If you just put in on your browser, worst of the worst, and just look at the first page, which is the latest ones, most of whom were from Minnesota, you will see that 5 out of 10 are convicted of sex offenses, 3 out of 10 child sex offenses, the other 2 rape. By and large, that's who they're defending. ICE does not arrest or expel citizens. In the minute number of cases that has happened, they've never made a mistake. They send the 40 people back. Obama was doing it 300 times and also did send people out that shouldn't be. He hasn't done that. And it's impossible not to arrest some of the people that are here criminally. But the focus, 7 out of 10 times, is on people who are convicted or have multiple accusations of crime and are contributing to the tremendous amount of crime in certain Democrat cities. So we're going to come back to that shortly. But I thought we should talk about the fallout from the EU. There are all these discussions now with the geniuses at Davos. I have to tell you, I was at Davos once.
Ah.
I spent the minimum amount of time there. I found them to be some of the most pompous, boring, useless people with ideas that I had rejected in high school. I'm serious. And this is like 10, 12 years ago. These are, they don't know it, but these are Marxists. Oh, yeah, they do, they don't. These are Marxists all trying to impress each other. Or crooked businessmen, looking to see who they can bribe. And it is not a pleasant place to go. And they are really slimy people. And gosh, I'm kind of used to dealing with slimy people. I sure put a hell of a lot of them in jail. It reminded me a lot of them. It reminded me a lot of them, not of my colleagues in the U.S. Attorney's Office or my friends, but it reminded me of the guys I put in prison, the business guys I put in prison. They all look like they were trying to bribe somebody or kiss somebody's backside or And the government officials were looking like, I couldn't tell if you had to give them a lot of money or you could have bought them for nothing. I mean, they look, I guess you had both. So it says here that Europe distrusts Washington. Who gives a shit? I have no idea why we worry about what failed nations think of us. There isn't one of these countries that has a solid economy. There isn't one of these countries that at this point has a military that's worth putting on the field. The guys they sent up to Greenland from Germany left in 2 hours. It was too effing cold. So yeah, they should be upset with us because Trump told them the truth. If you don't straighten your act out, you're going to become Muslim countries. He didn't say it quite that way, but that is what he was saying. A couple of you are probably gone, like Sturmer and Mr. Sunglasses.
That was funny.
Oh, Mr. Sunglasses? Yeah. He said he has some eye infection. His wife punched him in the eye.
Which we are not making light of domestic violence. However, I mean, come on. And President Trump, he had to make a comment, of course.
What did he say? It was a funny comment, though.
He made a comment about what's with the sunglasses? Like, what the hell?
I thought he said he looked good. I thought the president said he looked good with the sunglasses.
Let's see if he had.
He said something.
Yeah, we had it. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. This is first we should show.
So Europe, the Wall Street Journal has an article written by Yaroslav Trofimov. Yaroslav Trofimov. I don't know where he's from. He's all upset that Europe distrusts Washington because of the Greenland crisis. What was the crisis?
Yeah, what was the crisis?
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute. And then after the tariff reprieve, leaders must figure out how to pursue collective interests. Yeah, good luck with that. The EU has been trying to figure out their collective interests for 20, 30 years, and what did it lead to? It led to England quitting, right?
England said, we're out of here.
When the president said those remarks about NATO, which were just off the cuff, and they were about NATO in general, that sometimes they don't even step up. It's true. Not all of them. I'm sure if he had been questioned, he would have clarified, but he made it as a general comment. He didn't think. In fact, you start to get suspicious when the ones get absolutely outraged about it and don't realize it doesn't apply to them. I mean, it certainly doesn't apply to England. It certainly doesn't apply to Canada, although Canada's got its own problems with this carny party going off and sucking the biggest murderer in the world's ass.
Right. Well,
right. I mean, that's a hell of a leader of a country, and the country's suffering economically horribly. The economically viable parts of Canada want to join us.
That's right. Well, the president has officially withdrawn his invitation. Let me rephrase that. The Board of Peace has withdrawn its invitation to Prime Minister Carney regarding Canada's joining. So the president, this is after Carney's nasty comments.
Maybe he's afraid that that time that he spent with Xi Jinping, maybe he's a spy.
Well, yeah, and he made those nasty.
The Chinese had a big spying operation that just got uncovered in Taiwan.
Well, of course,
a big one. But the Taiwanese,
imagine what they haven't uncovered.
Oh, but the Taiwanese are great. I think the Taiwanese are probably even better at it than we are.
Look, I think
because their lives are at stake. Their lives are at stake.
Well, who knows what Carney wants to play big shot. He shows
now.
Up,
Here's another one that's going to surprise you. Some of our conservative right-wing friends in Europe, right?
Yep.
Who are occasionally accused of being Nazis.
Yep.
They're angry at us too. Nigel Farage, my good friend and Trump's good friend, calls the Greenland takeover a very hostile act. Doesn't he watch American television? I mean, it was explained on television better than anybody's ever explained it. We'll have to show that, right?
Right.
And then what about Jordan Bardella, also accused of being a Nazi, right-wing party national rally? It amounted to coercion. Well, that's not so bad.
Yeah. And to be fair, they have to deal with domestic.
I'm not going to be fair. What do I have to be fair for?
Yes.
Alex Weidel, who is the leader of the far-right AFD, who the chancellor who's far-right won't ally with because they're too Nazi. She says that Trump is going back on his campaign promises.
Well, that's not fair because that's
They
just
made a
not true.
campaign promise not to take Greenland. I don't remember. I remember the campaign really, really. In fact, the last mention he made of Greenland ever was before the campaign, and he said he wanted it.
Yep.
So, Alice, this is why nobody wants to ally with you in Germany. You get the facts wrong.
Well, I wonder.
Well, we're going to go to John. We're going to go to John Houvain because there's been a big drop in crime, a massive drop in crime. I have a chart back here of it, and in some places it's really historic.
Mm-hmm.
So the left-wing newspaper said it's got nothing to do with any of the crime programs. It has to do with all the money that was given out during the pandemic.
Nah.
But John, most of it was stolen, so I can't see how that.
Well, you taught me one thing. You taught me a lot of things about crime, and I repeat it several times. There's a cause and an effect. The cause is the president of the United States of America is deporting violent criminals. It's very much a direct result of that. We have
100%.
We have people that were shooting people, where right now gun violence is down 22%. We also have assaults down by 9%, where before he was president, there were people in Times Square beating up a lieutenant from the NYPD and police officers, and those were all illegals. They're gone. And also 11 of the 13 categories have a decline. And this is based on the 40 largest cities. And let's not forget the fact that the president went in and cleaned up Chicago. He went in and cleaned up Detroit. These were like really, really, really bad cities, high numbers. Despite what the president mayor is thinking, if it wasn't for the action of the ICE agents and the federal government, New York City would not be experiencing this this drop.
Mm-hmm.
And well, what does the mayor do today? He says, well, let's cut the overtime. You know, there's not many events in January and February. You know, we're going to cut overtime. Well, the overtime is not there to enhance the police officers' payroll. It's there because there's a shortage of police officers.
Yeah, because we defunded the police by $1 billion
Yes.
and we never put it back.
Yeah, so now he puts it under this rouge of it's economics 101, where, you know, you have to cut overtime. I'm not cutting the cops. I'm just cutting the overtime. Well, you are cutting the cops because those cops that work in overtime in the subways and everything else will not be there.
Yeah, and when you don't have enough police, which we know they don't by a lot,
Yes.
then you have to use overtime. I mean, I don't know what we were at 41,000, John. What are they, about 33?
They are about 33. But think about this, sir. Before you became mayor, Mayor Dinkins was doing overtime in the subways. Instead of like figuring out, I need more cops and let me hire them. And, you know, there were a lot of people interested in becoming police officers at that time. So it was an easy thing for you to come in and say, yeah, we'll keep the overtime going, but we need to build up our forces. And this is what we're looking at again. The numbers are down. Even Dinkins had more sense. He paid overtime. He paid overtime.
Well, I don't know, John. I don't know. I mean, this guy has been in office just a few days, and every day it's one disaster after another.
Well, you surrounded yourself with people from the U.S. Attorney's Office. He surrounded himself from the people from the USSR and
Yeah, from the Communist Party.
the Communist Party. But this is great. It's great for America. It's great for the president because
It is.
he led the charge in getting these violent criminals out. And you were very big on career criminals. Well, it was very hard to document these illegals as career criminals because we didn't know their records. But of course, when they were locked up 70 times for shoplifting, this, that, and everything else, yeah, it became evident that they are committing a large amount of crimes.
And this was a larger group of criminals among the illegals than we usually get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've always had some degree of illegal immigration, but we've also had some degree of control over it. So you had to be a little bit afraid about coming in. But when Biden opened the borders, it allowed every creep, every bum, every organized crime group, to send their people in.
Absolutely. And Argentina, we got the worst of their worst.
Mhm.
The people from Argentina that actually had money and Venezuela. The people that had money from Venezuela, they left, they took everything, but they came to America and they did it the right way. The rest of the people coming in were out and out criminals because there was nothing left to steal in that country because the dictator was stealing everything. And I came into the airport Sunday night and I actually see a change. When you're walking through the airport, customs and immigration, they had about 7 to 8 guys at the front where you're done, picked up your bags, you already gone through passport, and they were out in force. And it was a Monday night. It wasn't any big evening. It was a Monday night. And these guys were like staring at me, and I'm going, all right, you can stop me. I appreciate this. Like when you would go through TSA.
To me, you look like an Irish police officer.
Yeah, but when you go through TSA, you always appreciate it. You're like,
No,
we of
I
all
do too.
people in this world appreciates safety in the skies and such.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Well,
The
John,
present effect is President Trump needs to keep doing what he's doing. We need to keep supporting our ICE agents, and despite what these problem children are doing to these guys is insane. We have to stand
it
by
is.
them.
Well, hopefully it'll turn around. What does the snow look like, John?
Nothing yet. Aren't you enjoying yourself? You're down in Florida, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do that when I'm down in DR. I'm like, hey, how cold is it? But
We'll catch you
I'm
down in the DR one of these days so we can have some cigars.
absolutely, the president would love to see you. He's a big fan of
All
yours.
right.
And I actually I was talking to one of my friends and I'm saying, I remember when I was a kid, you couldn't get a gallon of milk when they were talking about a snowstorm coming, and you
Yeah.
couldn't get a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And everybody ran to the store and everybody filled up their gas tanks like
Mhm.
Armageddon was coming. But this one looks like it may be significant.
All right.
But
Let's see. Let's hope it's safe.
yeah.
Why do people fill up their gas tanks during storms? Where do they think they're going?
Well, in case they have to get
No,
in.
what it does is it weighs down the car, so you have better traction.
Yeah. You won't slip as much on the road.
Ah, okay. You've answered a question that I've
Yes.
had. I always want people are rushing to get there. Where the heck are you going? You're hunkering down in your basement, right?
Indeed. Well, enjoy Florida, Teddy. It's good to
All
hear
right.
you.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Thanks
It's
for what you
always
do,
a
John.
pleasure, man. Take care. Be safe,
You
man.
take care of yourself.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
So the president has made clear that the Armada is headed toward Iran. Maybe we won't have to use it, but maybe we will. So he's remaining very, very coy about all of this. This weekend, we're going to have several very, very interesting football games. The New England Patriots, who made one of the fastest turnarounds and are back in the place where they seem to be every year with Belichick and Brady.
Right.
Didn't they have like a 4 and something record last year?
I'd have to look. They did not do very well. I'll look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now Now they're going to play Denver.
Yes.
And it looked like Denver was probably slightly better until Denver lost their quarterback. And now New England is favored with their very, very good young quarterback.
Because of the injury.
But do you know something? New England, even with Brady, even with Belichick, has never won in Mile High Stadium. That's what it says.
How many times have they played there?
Well, I don't know. Denver's been in the league a long time. Got to be 5-10 times, right?
And
5 times.
I wonder because the Broncos have been to the Super Bowl twice.
Broncos,
recently
no, I think 3 times.
Well,
they lost to the Giants first time they were in.
Oh, they've been to the Super Bowl.
And they had been before that. They had lost the first time they were in, and they lost to the Giants.
So they've been to it maybe 6 times.
Yeah, and they lost the first. They lost a couple, and then finally.
I'm talking recently.
Denver has recently been there?
Under Peyton Manning. They've actually made 8 Super Bowl appearances. The Denver Broncos. They've made 8 appearances, which is interesting.
Yeah, but how many recently?
They've won 3. Recently, so in the 90s, they won the 2 with John Elway.
Right.
97 and 98. And then with Peyton Manning, they went in 2013 and 2015. I believe they lost in 2013 to the Seahawks. And then they won in 2015 against the Carolina Panthers.
I forgot that Peyton Manning played for them.
Right. And he won a Super Bowl with them.
Yeah.
And he lost a Super Bowl with them. But he had about, 3 years there? It is funny, right? Because, you think of him with the Colts, of course.
Yeah. There's a big dispute as to how many people the regime of terror has killed. They like to say they killed only 3,117 people during the demonstrations. But Mai Satao, who is the UN Special Rapporteur, says that it's probably 20. That's a big difference, isn't there? That's a very, very big difference. But that tells you how terrible a government this is, and how there are rumors that the Ayatollah has left.
Wow.
And so I don't know if they're any good. I don't mean to spread them. I just mean to report them.
Yeah, where would that come from?
I don't know. It could be crazy. Now let's explain to you for a minute why this Cuba thing is so damn important. And this is not some kind of a joke or some kind of thing where these people like Starmer and the guy in Germany and wherever, they don't really give a damn about their country, because let's face it, there's no way they can secure that for the benefit of their country the way we can secure it. And there's no way we can really secure it. So we're sure it's rock solid if we don't own it. They take it away from you. I don't think it'd make a difference, because they just oppose everything the president does. But maybe, he started this off kind of lightly and didn't want to make too much of it. Maybe he should have started it off with something like this. But this is a left-wing, Hollywood bullshit thing that they do. It was a couple of years ago, before it became a big issue. It's from and I think this is a very, very, I've never seen it before until I saw this, but I think this is a very popular and successful series called The Diplomat.
Yep.
And this is the 2nd season of it. And the older woman speaking, I think, is playing the vice president of the United States, who has just become the president of the United States. And the other woman who used to be on The Americans, she's a great actress. I really love her. She's a terrific actress. I think she's like maybe the head of the CIA or a head of this major intelligence group that's working between England and the United States. And I want you to listen to this very brief description of this, because every one of those European sissy boys that is opposing what Trump wants to do in Greenland, right down to we should own it. so that we can really control it and do it right, should listen to this and then say to themselves, are they really keeping their people safe by keeping out the best possible defense for this area? So just watch this.
Our naval defenses is steaming from the Arctic to the North Atlantic. This is our military presence in the Arctic. These were Russia's Arctic military positions in 1995. Today, infantry, naval, radar, search and rescue, air defense, the biggest buildup since the Soviets fell. This is where we lost Russia's most sophisticated submarines in the North Atlantic for 3 weeks. This is where we found their Lesharek submarine, which we noticed only because it caught fire. We have no idea how many more there are, but we think they're around here, 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 and here. This is Cregan. You know what Cregan is?
A nuclear submarine base in Scotland.
All of the UK's nuclear weaponry is housed at Cregan. It's what makes them one of the 9 nuclear powers. Also, it's the only base in Europe where we can dock our nuclear subs. It's the last place we have any hope of detecting a Russian sub before it's in the vast Atlantic barreling toward New York. Cregan is target 1 in the European theater of war. The Scots hate nukes, and they hate English overreach, but they really hate having a bullseye on their heads. If Scotland had gone independent,
They would have closed the base.
in a second. When we took our forces out of Iceland, Russian sub-activity skyrocketed, as did air incursions. When we pulled our combat brigades from Europe, anyone?
Russia annexed Crimea.
Is there a universe in which the United States could afford to lose the base in Scotland?
No.
Well, the base in Scotland is nothing compared to Greenland. So here is a map that I'm going to show you, and what she is talking about is our being able to detect, particularly now with hypersonic missiles and silent submarines, are being able to detect an encroachment on the United States from Russia. The most direct way for Russia to do that would actually to fly over Greenland or to sail around Greenland, probably to its south. Once you leave Scotland and you get to Montauk Point, we got nothing, zero. If we were in nuke Greenland, right at around actually we could play it at different places. We could be anywhere from the 40-yard line to the 50-yard line to the 60-yard line. We could detect them 70% away, 50% away, 10% away, at various points. Now, if you look at the map, you'll see why. I mean, she had a good map there. I think this may be better. There, when she says we have a defense, where's our defense? Let's not talk about Scotland now. Let's talk about us. Our defense is all the way up here. That's Alaska. Now, if they're coming this way, or this way, what good is that going to do us? Now we have this little thing in here in Scotland, about there, but look how, if they went like this, look look how they could evade that. And it's nothing. I mean, it's an old facility, and it's nothing compared to what we would need now. On the other hand, if we put a massive facility here, and a massive facility here, and a massive facility there, and one here, and one here, we got it covered. In fact, if we play around up here, this area, we can also prevent an attempt to come over the Arctic, which China could attempt also. Greenland is the single most critical defense position against a kind of war that could annihilate us. It would be irresponsible for a president not to do everything, even sacrifice his presidency to get it for his people. And I'm going to tell you this about these shitheads in Europe, and also the Democrats who don't support him. But they're going to die with us when and if this happens. They've lost their soul. I'm telling you, 50 years ago, Democrats and Republicans both would be supporting this. In fact, Democrats would try to even maybe make it easier for Trump and go out front and push it, just in case there were silly isolationists like Rand Paul and jerk-offs in our party. And we've always had jerk-offs in our party, like they have jerk-offs in their party. We just haven't had traitors in our party. They have straight out now traitors. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. Take a look again at that map, Ted. And I'm going to show you the based on what those ladies just showed us. Yes, in a fiction account, but it's real. This is our entire defense against the most likely way for Russia to attack us. It's right here. That's it. One little thing right there. And look what they have available. And then contrast it with the placement of that right there. And when you also have this right there. So go to war for it? Probably not. Exercise unbelievable, break their arms pressure, destroy their economy pressure? Yeah, you're doing them a favor because they can't defend themselves the way we can. And maybe there's a more subtle way to say it. Maybe there's a more diplomatic way to say it. But nobody was saying it except on television. Nobody was saying it until Donald J. Trump had the balls to say it. This isn't a joke. This isn't fun. This isn't, we want Denmark. This is the way the Russians threaten us all the time with nuclear war. This is their preferred method of trying to dominate the world. They may never do it. But if they do, we're not going to have a chance to complain after. Most we're going to be able to do is to, explain to God why he shouldn't punish us. So he's got some kind of deal in his pocket right now. I think the deal is from the Danish point of view. I think the deal is no sovereignty for the U.S. in Greenland. They can have all the bases they want. They can have all the agreements they want, but no sovereignty. Now, why is sovereignty important? Because we have to control it. We need to control it, as the president said, not for 100 years, but forever, because it will forever be our protection and theirs. So if you're an American, and if you have common sense, and if you're interested in making a world that is free of the ability of crazy human beings to annihilate it, then you support this. Sorry. Do you know that the Arizona Attorney General, who I don't know, probably has something to do with the case that's dismissed on me and Christina, Bob, and Professor Eastman and everybody else, but not dismissed. His name is Chris Mays. He sat down with 12 News Phoenix anchors. With 12 News Phoenix anchor Bram Resnick. And he said that you could, in self-defense, shoot ICE agents if they're masked. Do you think the guy should be removed from public office and be put in rehabilitation somewhere?
Absolutely, no question.
He actually said that. I don't know if you can find that. I know I sprung it on you quickly, but here's the thing, right there. Meanwhile, the church people that went into the church were all arrested. Nikema Levy Armstrong, who attacked the church, city's church in St. Paul this weekend, cursing, swearing, yelling, frightening children, and interfering in a Sunday worship of Jesus Christ. And of course, Don Lemon, who was clued in on the whole thing, as he said, and bragged about, he was clued in on the whole thing, who doesn't seem to know that there is no First Amendment right to obstruct someone who is practicing their religion, because it's a direct violation of another constitutional right, free exercise of religion. So, this Nikema Levy Armstrong was arrested. And then Chantil Louisa Allen, who's a member of We Like to Kill Police Officers, Black Lives Matter. Fry 'em like bacon, huh? Pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. And then boop, 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 the cops get killed. They're trying to do the same thing with ICE. You know how much police killings went up as a result of Chantil's Louisa Allen's Black Lives Matter group? And do you know how much money American corporations and sports leagues, baseball, football, basketball, gave those murderers and crooks and communists? Well, they're behind this. Well, of course they would go into a church. They don't believe in God. They're committed amoral atheists. Although Chantil Louisa Allen, who is a member of Black Lives Matter, which is a communist group, just asked the leaders, it's right in their charter, compared herself to Jesus. And she was inspired by the cleansing of the temple. These people weren't selling anything. They were having a Sunday worship service. They were keeping the Sabbath holy. Is it not a commandment? Well, they don't have commandments, these people. Their commandments are destroy America. And the third one looked like a gangster and a really bad guy. He calls himself, his last name is Kelly, but he calls himself DeWolk Farmer. He was wearing a beanie hat emblazoned with the very, very subtle word combination F Trump, and in a church.
That's right. We have that. Yeah.
So they are now all arrested and charged with conspiracy against rights and numerous other things. However, in something I never heard of before, the magistrate judge refused to sign the warrant for the arrest of Don Lemon, who showed that he was very much a part of the group, boasting that he was read into the activities of Operation Pull-Up, and then at various times served as their spokesman. He wasn't just covering it. I don't get how the magistrate judge reverses that. And who is the magistrate judge? Shall we make a gentleman's wager that he's a Democrat who leans communist. Meanwhile, we're getting rid of Mahmoud Khalil. They're sending him to Algeria. Finally, that's the guy that caused all the trouble at Colombia. He's out. There is not a single person in the Democrat Party that I know of that has condemned the church attack. Not a one. The communist Keith Ellison looks like he's going to get himself jammed up in all the money flying around. Some might have stuck to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the communist governor, I don't know, they should just take a look at all the money he got from Red China. We did a pretty good job on Smith last night, so there's no reason to review it except to say to you that I can certify to 3 of his lies because of direct information. I probably can compile about 10 others from other people. It was a disgrace. If Congress doesn't move this on to the Justice Department for prosecution for perjury, then they're a bunch of bullshit artists. This guy just perjured his ass off. Everybody is indicating, including the president, that Cuba is not going to be a communist country by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Please, God. I've been praying for that for years. Praying for it for years, along with even longer than Tehran and Iran. So the regime change in Cuba, we don't know how we're going to do it. We think they're going to do it, just like I think they're going to do it in Iran. Let's keep our eye on Iran because, as I said, the facilities are being put in place, and the president's modus operandi so far has been to surprise people. The quieter he is, the more likely he is to strike. He's suing Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan Chase for $5 billion, nice number, for debanking him. I'm pretty sure they debanked me too. About 5 banks did that. Taiwan had a very effective program of catching the Chinese spies who were spying on them. The Wall Street, I think the Post makes a very, very good point that 200 assistant U.S. attorneys in the Southern District of New York who could be prosecuting Nicolas Maduro or Luigi Mangione or numerous drug dealers and Wall Street criminals. They've got 200 of them going through the millions of pages of Epstein documents in order to take out the victims' names. And now what good is it going to do putting out the documents without the victims' names, since we don't know what the people did? There's the name, John Slattery. Was John Slattery a customer? Fine. Did John Slattery go out to dinner with him once, thinking about using him? Was he a friend of a friend? Did he go to a couple of regular parties? Is there a way of distinguishing the people? Well, first of all, nobody's guilty. I just think you got to just chalk it up to the kind of system we have, where we don't convict people on innuendo. Now, if you want, you could probably talk me in as a judge to putting out the names of the people who went to the island multiple times. Even that's a little unfair because we don't know what he let people go and what he didn't. But I seriously doubt if you're putting out names of people that didn't go to the island, you got anybody that's guilty of a child molestation. Now, are some of them guilty of being customers of a pimp with adult women or men or whatever? Yeah, probably. But probably most aren't. He did have several legitimate lives as a very, very well-known and sought-after financial advisor. I don't know why, but I don't know if it was legit or not, but people thought it was. And second, he was a big shot Democrat donor, which means people be sucking up to him, excuse the expression, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, got to be a lot of Democrats went to see him to get money and not little girls, thank God. But to waste 200 prosecutors doing this, God almighty, just because the press is yelling and screaming, you got to put out the names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that people can get their reputations destroyed.
Well, here's the
Many more people are going to get their reputations destroyed than people that were involved, because there's only a limited number of trips that he made down there. So the odds are going to be probably, and you're never going to know which are which. I mean, it's
well, here to go back. Here's the Arizona Attorney General and her comments that endanger ICE.
Is that we're a stand your ground state. We have one of the most expansive stand your ground laws in the entire country that rivals even Florida. We also have a lot of guns in Arizona. We're a gun culture in this state. And, you know, it's kind of a recipe for disaster, because you have these masked federal officers with very little identification, sometimes no identification, wearing plain clothes and masks. And we have a stand your ground law that says that if you reasonably believe that your life is in danger and you're in your house or your car or on your property, that you can defend yourself with lethal force. Bram, is that we're a stand your ground state.
This, as you can tell from her halting speech, this is a person of limited intelligence and no integrity, which I can tell you because she's holding up the dismissal of my indictment, which was declared to be a political case over a year ago. But the longer she holds it up, the more difficult it is for me to try to get my law license back. And it's not just me, it's Professor Eastman and Christina Bobb. And I mean, the judge has already said the case is bullshit. But the judge, who doesn't have the balls to just dismiss the case, has given her time to replead the case. You're supposed to only have like a month. She's already had almost a year. As if this is really a case. These are corrupt people, my friends. That's a corrupt person you're looking at. And what she's suggesting there, if an ICE agent gets killed, they should point right at her. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. And let's hope this country turns around quicker and quicker, and a lot of people are, and the president's doing everything that he can, and the forces of Satan are doing everything they can to stop it. Boy, they sure are resourceful. And they just lie with a straight face. I didn't think it was like this. Even with all the prosecutions and everything else. I thought government was a high calling. It is a high calling, but we've destroyed it. And we got to restore it, and we will. So enjoy the weekend. If you're, I'm not the best source for weather. You might as well go to the Weather Channel for that to know if you're in it or you're not in it. I don't want to make a mistake. So please be careful. As a former mayor, I used to instruct people to do certain things. I never did it lightheartedly. I never did it in a way that these Democrat, Nazi, fascist type governors, put out mandates, or always left it to you. But there was a good reason why I was telling you to do it. And it probably made sense, unless there was some countervailing reason for your health, to do it. Like if I told you, you get out of the flood area, probably you should do it. And we did lose some people who didn't listen at times, and it weighs on your conscience. Maybe you should have gone and visited them. But at any event, listen, this looks like it could be very dangerous. Assume that it is, and then if it isn't, we all have a party, huh? Okay. Keep up with that. Hopefully you'll get a chance to enjoy 2 good football games. There's another good one, right?
Right.
The Rams and
Seahawks.
Well, that could be close.
The first two
Everyone's picking the Rams, but the Seahawks are a tough team. Are they playing in Seattle?
playing in Seattle, they had two.
Well, they get a great advantage in Seattle. We know that, boy, with that yelling and screaming in that stadium that's like this.
Yeah.
Woo!
We could see a Patriot Ram.
And Denver
Cool.
gets a big advantage in.
Yeah. Right. I think they'd rather be in Denver than Boston this weekend with all the snow.
They probably can't play in Boston, I would think.
12 to 18 inches
Hmm.
of snow.
Be great though. I used to love those games that Giants used to have in the snow. And there's one game with the Cleveland Browns where Pat Summerall kicked a field goal. No one knows how long it was.
That's funny.
Because in those days you didn't have all the technical stuff and you couldn't see the markers.
That's what I want to talk to Susie about. Her father.
About a father, yeah,
That's it,
more interesting than everything else.
I'm going to say that next time. If I get a chance with her, I'm going to bring that up.
Well, Mr. President, you had quite a week. And if it wasn't they're taking the statement that you made that was very general and trying to make it very specific and making it into this big insult, it'd have been something else they did. We know they're not going to give you a break ever because they're perverse, but we know that you're saving us. And this thing on Greenland, really, you're saving us. Just you get out your own maps and take a look and see how important this is. Pray for the people of Israel and the people of Ukraine and the people who are dying for freedom. Dying literally for freedom in Iran. And the sooner it comes, the less people will die. Pray for the people of Venezuela and people of Cuba who look like they may be getting a chance to get out of this. And I think I mentioned Israel, but I'll mention it again. And of course, our people of America, and for our leader who has to go through so much and keep the mind very, very straight and make decisions that are that only can be made with the help of God, and he does. So God bless him. Spend a little time this weekend in the shul or in the church or praying to God. Just remember who our Creator is and what we own. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given